Hey, welcome to Chapter 1, Video 3 of this Roblox course. Now, like I promised in the last video, we're going to get right into scripting in this video. We're going to learn how to script, what scripts are, how we can use them to do really cool stuff in our games. But before we get to scripting, I want to do one last thing really quick. Now, you may have noticed as you're building your levels, and you can see I have a level here I built out of a bunch of anchored floating parts. I have some, oopsies, this guy's extra. I have some floating spheres here. And it's a pretty cool start to an obstacle course. Now I'm going to be adding a lot more to this obstacle course as time goes on, but you'll see I have an issue right now, and I'm sure you're having the same issue. When you hit play, you spawn way up in the air, and sometimes it seems like it's on a random spot. So it's kind of hard to make this course if we don't know where the player is going to start, because we don't want the player to start in the middle of the obstacle course or the end of the obstacle course. We want them to spawn at the beginning of the obstacle course, so they have to do the whole thing. So we're going to add what's called a spawn location to our course, okay? A spawn location in Roblox is just a spot that tells the computer where to spawn new players when they enter your game world. And it's obviously very useful. So let's go ahead and add that real quick. All you have to do if you want to add a spawn location is figure out where you want it to be. I'm going to put mine here at the beginning because that's what makes the most sense for an obby course, to have it be right there at the beginning. I'm going to go to the very beginning of my course, and then I'm going to right click in the world, in the viewport, and we're going to scroll down, and you'll see there's two options here, insert part and insert object. If I clicked insert part, it would just add a regular old block like we've been doing so far. We don't want to do that. We're going to go down one to insert object, and that's going to bring up a huge list of all the different things you can add to your Roblox game, okay? And don't worry, there's a lot of stuff. We're not going to be talking about all of them all at once. We're just going to focus here today on the spawn location. So scroll down to where it says spawn location. It's alphabetical, so it should be in the same section as the other S's. Go ahead and find spawn location and click on that to add a spawn location to your world. Okay, once you click on the spawn location, you should see this block pop up, and this block has a crazy cool shuriken swirly sunburst logo on it. So this is our spawn location, okay? And we can move it, we can resize it, we can rotate it just like all the other blocks in Roblox, okay? But I'm not going to do any of that besides moving. I'm just going to put mine at the beginning of my course and then leave it alone because I think it's already sized and rotated the way I want. So there we go. I have my obstacle course, or sorry, my spawn location at the beginning of my obstacle course of my obby. And if I go ahead and click on play now, you'll see I spawn right on top of that. And now we don't have to guess where this player is going to spawn. We don't have to try to build a course around the default spawn location. We can just go ahead and decide that for ourselves. So go ahead and position your spawn location correctly. And then once you're done with that, we'll move on to the next section where we're going to be adding kill blocks using scripting. Kill blocks being blocks that will kill the player when they step on them. So what is scripting? Well, scripting in Roblox is simply writing lines of code for the computer to read that tells it what to do. We can use scripting to add and remove blocks. We can use scripting to change a player's stats. We can even use scripting to change the color of things. We can use it to change the time of day. We can do all sorts of really cool stuff with scripting. When we're scripting in Roblox, we're using a special language called Lua, okay? And Lua isn't English, but it has lots of English words, and it's close enough you should be able to read it when you look at Lua code. Now, there's two ways to write scripts to add code to Roblox. The first way is to simply type it in to this little box down here at the bottom of the screen. If you come all the way down here to the bottom left hand of corner of your screen, you'll see this little box here that says run a command. And if you click on that, you can type stuff in. Now the most basic thing we can do with scripting is the print command. If we just write the word print, okay, then we can tell it to print things to the screen. You can see it's already trying to suggest things that I've already had it print in the past. So if you just go ahead and type in print and then add in your parentheses, and those are two special symbols above the 9 and the 0 on your keyboard, so just go ahead and find 9 and 0, hold down shift and then push 9, 0, and that'll add those two parentheses to you. Now with this print command, anything we put inside those parentheses is going to be written to the console right here, written to the output. To test that out, we're just going to tell the computer to write hello world in the console. So inside the parentheses, we're just going to put quotation marks, okay? Quotation marks are those rabbit ear guys, okay? And that tells the computer that it's going to be a word or a phrase. We're going to say print, and then we're just going to write hello world. And I'm going to put an exclamation mark because my code is excited. Then all you have to do is hit enter, and you'll see here in the console, it tells us what the command was and then what the actual output was. And the output was just this phrase, hello world. So I want you to pause your video and try printing something yourself. Okay, remember it goes print, then the parentheses, and then quotation marks, and then inside the quotation marks you can write whatever you want. Okay, so you can also print other stuff. You don't have to print words or phrases. If I erase everything inside the parentheses, including those quotation marks, so I'm back to just those parentheses, I can put math problems in there if I wanted to. I could do 14 plus 8, okay? And if I hit enter, you'll see it would print out the answer, which is 22. So you can print other stuff too. You can have the computer do your math for you. Now, like I mentioned earlier, there's tons of complex stuff you can do with scripting as well. For instance, I want to delete the base plate from my world. The base plate is this giant gray brick that everything is on top of, this giant gray block, okay? And I want to get rid of it because right now if you fall off the obstacle course, you'll see here, I can just go ahead and jump right back on, okay? And if I fell off a place that was higher up, I can just walk back to where it was lower down and jump onto it again. And I don't want that. That makes the obstacle course, the obby, too easy. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete that. Now I could just do it inside the editor here. I could find that base plate here in my workspace, scroll down, select it, and then push the delete button on my keyboard. That's one way I could do it, and that's totally acceptable. But you could also do it with code. I could come down here to the code window right here, and I could type in game.workspace.baseplate, and we'll put colon and then remove with a capital, if I can just type today, with a capital R and our parentheses, okay? And if I hit enter, that would remove the base plate. So why don't you go ahead and pause your video and try removing your own base plate. You could either select it in the Explorer and then hit the delete key on your computer, or you could type in this code that I put right here. And I'll make sure that's on the screen when the video is paused so that you guys can copy that down. So go ahead and choose which way you want to get rid of the base plate, and then we'll come back and we'll get into scripting using actual scripting files. Okay, so like I said, there's two ways to write scripts for Roblox. One way is just to put commands in here directly, and that can be useful for some stuff, but it's pretty limited. For our obby course, we're going to have what we call kill blocks. Little blocks that if you step on them, the player falls apart and they have to respawn and try again, okay? And we couldn't do that by just writing code down here in the bottom, okay? We need code the computer can run dynamically on its own time, automatically when someone else is playing the game, okay? And to do that, you need what's called a script file. Now, before we can create our script file and start writing the code for that, we have to actually create our kill block first. So I'm just going to come down here to my first block, and for testing purposes, I'm going to put the kill block right here at the beginning. I'm just going to click on the part button we've used before to add a new part, okay? And then I'm just going to modify the way this one looks really quick. I'm going to make it longer, I'm going to make it thinner, and I'm going to make it red and neon. That way, it's much more noticeable and it stands out, and it's pretty clear this is not a block that you want to touch, okay? So I'm just going to mess with that real quick. And I'll get rid of, actually if you put it on neon, you can't even see those studs at the top, so we're all set. So I have my little kill block here ready to go. But if I go ahead and click on play, you'll notice nothing's going to happen when I jump onto it. It's just a regular block right now because we haven't given it the script that tells it to kill the player. So go ahead and pause the video and create your very own kill block, and then we'll go ahead and add the script to it. Okay, now that you have your kill block, make sure it's selected. And real quick, we're going to rename it so it's easier to find in the workspace here, because right now it's just named part, just like everything else in my course, and that's very confusing because looking at this list, I have no idea which one's which. So with our kill block selected, we're just going to come down here and change the name for it in the properties window. I'm just going to call mine kill block, but you can name yours whatever you want. So go ahead and pause your video again and change the name for your kill block. Okay, so now we're going to add a script to the kill block, and adding a script to something is very, very simple in Roblox. All we need to do is make sure we have it selected here in the Explorer. Okay, I have mine highlighted, you can see there. Then we're going to right-click on it and scroll down to Insert Object, just like we did when we added the spawn location, okay? And when you mouse over that, another big list is going to show up. It's a little bit different because there's some things you can add to a block that you can't just add to the world, but it's mostly the same. And we're looking for something called script. It's also in the S section. So scroll down until you find script, and then click on that to add a new script to your kill block. Okay, once you click on this button, you'll see a couple things have changed. One, our viewport has disappeared, and now it's just a big white screen with some text on it, okay? This is our script. If you want to get back to your obby, you can just go ahead and click on the tab up here that has your map on it, and you can go back and forth. So don't worry, it's not lost. The other thing that's changed is you can see over here under kill block, we now have a script. And if we open and close kill block using this arrow, you can see the script is inside of the kill block, okay? That means the script is a part of the kill block. So now we have this script, and this script is going to run whenever the game game starts. So you can see right now it says print hello world, just like we did earlier. And if we went ahead and went back to our obstacle course and hit play, you'd see it says hello world down here in the output, because when the game is run, everything runs, or all the scripts are run, including this script that says hello world. And of course we could change this to say pizza is delicious, okay? And it would say that instead of hello world. I'll go back to Obby or my Obby course and prove that to you. Now it says pizza is delicious down there. So now we've proved that our script is running and it runs every time the game starts. So now we're just going to tell it to, instead of saying hello world or pizza is delicious, we're going to tell it to actually kill the player when it steps on it, so we can use these blocks as actual hazards in our obbies. Okay, so we don't need this print line anymore because we know our script is running, so we're just going to erase all that code in there, and now we should have a totally empty file. So now all we need to do is add a function to our script. Now what is a function, you ask? That's a good question. Let's go ahead and take a break from the coding to learn about what functions are real quick, and then we'll come on back and finish out this line of code so we can finish up our kill blocks. I'll see you guys on the other side. Hey there, welcome to the world of Roblox. I got stuck in here because I once spent an entire summer vacation just playing Roblox, so be careful how much you play or you could end up like me. Scary thought, I know. We'll be jumping into the world of Roblox every once in a while to explain some of the trickier or more complex concepts we cover in this course. So right now we're trying to figure out what exactly is a function and what does it look like. Well, functions are pretty easy to write. All you have to do is write the word function to tell the computer that we're adding a new function, and then you just write the name of the function right next to it. So in this example, we'll write function restart game. So now the computer knows we're adding a new function, and it's called restart game. Immediately after you write the name of the function, you have to add 2 parentheses. Those are 2 keyboard characters that really like each other, and they get very upset if you just have one and not the other. So we always add an opening and then a closing parentheses. After that, all we have to do is write the word end to tell the computer, hey, this is the end of the function. And there we go. We have a function named restart game, we have our parentheses, and then we have the end of the function. Ta-da! So what does it actually do, though? Well, functions are useful for a lot of different reasons, but one of the reasons we want to use them for is convenience and organization. We can use functions as a shortcut to run a lot of other code. You can fill a function up with as many lines of code as you want. We can just stretch it out and put all the code we need to restart our game in there. And then instead of having to write all that code out again, we can just tell the computer, hey, run the restart game function, and that'll run all the code inside of it, okay? It's just a shortcut to run all this code using just one function name. For instance, let's say we had 3 different obstacles or 3 different hazards in our game. We had a monster, okay? We had a spike trap, and we had a really, really crazy angry chicken, okay? And we want all three of those hazards to restart the game when the player runs into them. Rather than having to rewrite all of that code for each one of those hazards, we can just tell each one of them, hey, if you catch the player, just restart the game. Bing, bing, bing. All 3 of them, we just have to write that one word, that one function name, and they'll all know to run all of this code. So it's a really good way to tell different things in our game to run the same set of code. It's a really good shortcut to running big chunks of code. So let's head over back to our computers and add our very first function to our game. I'm gonna stay here because I can't leave. I'm actually trapped here inside of Roblox. I can't go anywhere. Okay, you don't care. Never mind. See ya. Okay, so now we can create a function for our script. We're just gonna write the word function to tell the computer we're adding a new function. And then we need to give the computer what the name of our function is going to be. Our function here is just going to be called kill player because that's what it's going to do. It's going to kill the player when it's all done. And then as you saw in the other video, we just need to add our parentheses and then hit enter, and Roblox should automatically add the word end at the end. So now we have the beginning of our function up here and the end, and we're ready to write some code inside. Now before we start writing any code inside of that function, we need to figure out which player actually hit the kill block, okay? We don't want to run this function every time a player steps on it and kill all the players because that would be incredibly annoying, because if somebody else stepped on the kill block, you get killed too, okay? So we want to make sure that we're just killing the one player that stepped on it. And we can easily figure out what that player is by asking for it as an argument. Now we're going to talk about arguments more in a later video, don't worry about that. But for right now, just go ahead and put your cursor inside those parentheses and just write the word player, okay? And this word player is going to be our reference to the player that stepped on the block. So wherever you see a player from now on, you can think of, oh, this is the player that stepped on the kill block. Now to make sure we don't accidentally type over the word end here or run out of space in our function, we're just going to put our cursor right here in the middle and hit enter 2 times and then move our cursor back up to the middle here, okay? That way we have a lot of space in the middle to work with. Now we just need one line of code to kill the player that stepped on the kill block. So go ahead and type this line with me, then we'll go back and talk about the specifics of what this line actually does, what it actually means. So we're just going to write player, which is the player that stepped on the kill block. Remember, we just talked about that. Player dot parent, okay, dot humanoid dot health, okay? Go ahead and type that out. Player.parent.humanoid.health. And keep in mind, these last three words here all start with a capital letter. So go ahead and type that out very, very carefully. Make sure you don't make any spelling mistakes. Then we'll type the last part of this line. Okay, we have the player health. We're just going to put a space equals space 0, okay? So go ahead and type that out, and then as soon as you're done typing that, we'll go through and explain what that line actually means. Okay, so as you understand Roblox and Roblox scripting more and more, you're going to understand how the entity component system, the parent-child system, really works. But for right now, I don't want to get bogged down in that. What I want you to do is mentally erase these two words. Don't actually erase them because they're pretty important, but just go ahead and ignore them for now. We're just going to focus on these words. Player.health equals 0. All we're saying is get the player who stepped on the kill block, the player who actually stepped on this block, and then get their health and set that health to 0. And when a player in Roblox, when their health gets to 0, that player dies, okay? So it's very, very simple to eliminate the player that way. They'll fall to pieces and then they'll respawn in just a few seconds. Okay, so we're almost done with this file. We're so close. We have to do one last thing, and we're not going to talk about what it does too technically. We're just going to understand it at a high level. Right now we have this function called killPlayer, and this function will kill whatever player steps on the block. But the problem is functions don't just run on their own, okay? If you add a function, it's never actually going to work. The code inside is never actually going to run on its own. You have to tell the computer specifically to run that function by writing out the name killPlayer. So what we're going to do is tell the computer that whenever anybody, no matter who they are, whenever anybody steps on this block, whenever anybody collides with this kill block, I want you to run this function, okay? We're pretty much saying, hey, when this happens, when something collides with the block, then run our function, okay? And we're going to be using a phrase we're going to see a lot here in Roblox scripting called connect, okay? And connect does exactly what we were talking about. We can connect a function to an event. The event is stepping on the block. When anybody steps on the block, we're going to connect to the function so that it runs the function when the event happens. If that's kind of confusing, don't worry, we're going to be going over it over and over and over again in this course because it's an essential concept in Roblox scripting. So that line of code is actually going to look like, we'll go ahead and put our cursor at the end of the word end, at the very end of this file, and hit enter. And that line of code is just going to look like script.parent, okay? Script.parent is the kill block itself because here's the script. The parent of the script is the kill block. Script.parent.touched, okay? Touched is an event, what we were just talking about, whenever something touches the block, okay? So go ahead and write that out, and then we'll finish the rest of the line after that. Okay, to connect our function, to add our function to that event, all we're going to do is put a colon, a full colon. We saw one earlier when we typed a line of code, but you can find that on your keyboard next to the letter L. Find the letter L, like lion, and go one button over, one key over, and you can see there's two symbols on there. We want the one on top. So we're just going to push Shift and that button, and that's going to add the colon for us, those two little dots. Okay, all that's left now is to write the word connect with a capital C, connect parentheses, and to connect something, all we have to do is write the name of the function inside those parentheses. And the name of our function is what? It's killPlayer, okay? Go ahead and write out killPlayer inside those parentheses. So pause your video, type this out exactly like I did, make sure it's letter for letter exactly the same, and then come on back. Okay, just to go over that one more time, what everything in this line does, script.parent is the kill block itself, okay? So we're saying, hey, kill block. Whenever you are touched, whenever that event touched happens, whenever anything touches this block, I want you to run this function killPlayer. We're connecting the function to the event. And again, don't worry if you don't understand that completely yet. It's kind of confusing and it takes a while to get a hold of it. So just make sure you typed it out correctly, and then as the course goes on, you're definitely going to understand it more and more, and you're going to get the hang of it. Don't worry. Okay, so now we can actually run this. We can actually test it out. If we go back to our obstacle course and we click on play and try jumping on our block, you'll see something pretty comedic happens. The player falls apart, and after a few seconds, I'm going to respawn back on that spawn location. I also accidentally kicked the kill block off the edge, so it's probably a good idea to anchor your kill block. I'm going to do that real quick. I'll just select it, make sure it's anchored, and there we go. Now if I run into it, I won't kick it off the edge anymore. and boom, there we go. We have a fully functioning kill block. Now don't worry if you're thinking, oh, I want to add like 100 of these things to my course, but I don't want to type out that code every time. Don't worry, I'm with you. That would be awful. There's a very, very easy way to duplicate or recreate a block, clone a block in Roblox. Just make sure you have it selected in the world and then press Control D, or if you're on a Mac, Command D, and you can see here, whoopsies, it just goes ahead and duplicates the block and makes another one on top of it. And this kill block behaves exactly the same. It's got the exact same script inside of it, and I can put it over here. So if someone's good and they manage to make it past my first kill block, like that, oopsies, well, the second kill block would do the same thing. Let me try one more time. I think I may have made this a little bit too difficult already. Okay, let's make this a little simpler. Real quick, make this smaller. Boom. Now we can step around it. So, navigator on the first one, no issue. Step on the second one, boom. It works exactly the same. And you can do that with all sorts of stuff. You can go ahead and duplicate these blocks if you want to quickly expand your level. You can duplicate the spheres. You can duplicate pretty much anything, including the spawn location if you want to. So, that's a cool trick. Remember, it's Control D or Command D on a Mac, and that'll allow you to recreate or add lots of these kill blocks to your levels, okay? If you want to be real evil and add lots of them and make it very, very hard. So now we can go ahead and keep working on our obstacle courses. We can add kill blocks, we can add new challenges. In the next video, we're going to talk about some cool extra things we can do with parts, with blocks, to make extra hard challenges in our obstacle course. And then we're going to talk about checkpoints, so that you can actually make save points that if someone beats a particularly hard portion, they don't have to go back and do it again if they die, okay? And that makes these courses a lot more fun to play. So those two things will be coming up. Those are things we can look forward to. Last thing I want to cover in this video real quick is saving your course, okay? We're going to be publishing this to Roblox online at the end of this chapter, but until then we're just going to save it locally, and it's very easy to do. All you have to do is go up here to the top left where it says File, click on that, and then click on Save As, okay? And it's going to ask you for the name. I named mine Obby already, but you could name yours anything. You could name it Obstacle Course of Doom, okay? You can type anything you want, and then just go ahead and click on Save, and that's going to save the level for you so you can open it up again if you close down Roblox, if you have to shut down the computer for whatever reason. So make it a habit to save your obstacle course or save whatever you're working on every time you have to close Roblox down. Anyway, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thanks so much for taking this Roblox obstacle course. I'm excited to get to the next concept, the next new things we're going to be learning in the next 2 videos. So, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.